Are you wanting to buy a home but frustrated that you can't find the right house? Are you getting outbid every time you put an offer on an existing home? Should you just build a home instead? Today I'm going to go over the pros and cons of building versus buying an existing home right now. Hi, this is Robert Luke, and I've been a realtor in the Salt Lake City area since 2005, and I've bought and sold hundreds of homes. Today, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of building a new home or buying an existing home in the Salt Lake area. At the end of this video, I will have links to videos I've made that you may be interested in, such as buying or selling a home in this hot market. So here are the options in building your own home. When a person decides that they want to build a new home, there are basically three options. First, they can buy raw land or a vacant lot and contract to have the home built by a subcontractor. Second, they could have a major builder build their home from scratch after picking a lot and a house plan from the builder's subdivision. Third, they could buy what is called a spec home from a builder in a current subdivision. Option 1, buying a lot and contracting to build your own house. Many dream of finding a choice 5-acre lot in an ideal location and then building that house of their dreams with a local contractor. This is still possible in some locations, but it's very hard to do if you need to live and work in the Salt Lake, Davis, or Utah County. And that's because most of the major builders such as Ivory Homes, D.H. Horton, Edge Homes, and others have been scouring the area for years buying up land for major subdivisions. And in many cases, they have had to have the zoning changed to build the types of homes that they want to build in that area. So these builders have spent thousands of dollars working with city and county planning departments to get the zoning they need. While a person can still find land in these counties that I mentioned, there may be restrictions on these lots, restrictions that kept the major builders from buying them in the first place. A regular home buyer will need to navigate the government requirements for that piece of land. They may buy the land only to find out that any home built on that land will have to build a sewer, electrical, or water system to connect to the city. Or they may find out that they must build a new street with improvements to connect to the neighboring city streets. In other words, it's not for the inexperienced or faint of heart to take on a project like that, especially in this current hot market. The other option is to find a piece of land up in the mountains and then build your dream home. Similar to finding a vacant lot in the valleys, however, you will still have restrictions, and you may also have limited access to these properties due to the snow. It can be done, of course, but it's an adventure to say the least. It's not as easy as it was back in the 1950s when your grandfather built that cabin in the mountains. Option 2, building with one of the major builders in an area within an existing subdivision. Typically, a buyer would visit a model home on the weekend, look over the subdivision lot maps, and then pick their choice of home and see which one is available for that particular lot. By the way, it's very important to have your own agent go with you on that first visit. Just tell your agent that you want to visit some models and then have your agent go with you. It doesn't cost you any more to have your own agent, and I promise you that you won't regret it in the long run. The agent in the model works for the seller and not for you. There are many instances in which you need your own advocate in building a home. Additionally, most builders have their own contracts, and they usually significantly differ from the standard contracts that you use and buy an existing home. Your own agent will make sure to protect you and your earnest money and deposits during the entire process. Now, back to building a house in an existing subdivision. And by the way, this is a very basic overview of the entire process. It's much more complex. Typically, you put a deposit on a subdivision lot, which can fit several different types of homes. This is usually called a lot hold. Usually, you can cancel your lot hold up to a certain time. Each builder is different. In today's market, May of 2022, you may have multiple offers on the lots, and you may get into a bidding war to secure the lot or home that you want. So, building your own home does not necessarily mean that you won't get into a bidding war. It depends on the market and the demand for new homes. Once you are selected to hold that lot, the builder will want to make sure that you're financially approved to buy the home you have decided upon. Many builders will have their own lenders, and they'll offer special incentives such as closing cost reductions, rate reductions, etc. But you can always use your own lender if you choose. What is difficult for the buyer and the builder, frankly, is to know what the actual price of the home will be 6 to 8 months down the road, which is usually what it takes to build a brand new home. Building costs, and check out the chart that I'm showing here, building costs have been skyrocketing over the past several years, and it's very hard for the builder to tell you exactly what your home's going to cost because they really don't know at the start of the process. On top of that, nobody really knows what the interest rates were going to be 6 to 8 months from now. If you started your home in February of 2022 with a 3% interest rate, then watched as rates climb to 5% in May, you really don't know what they will be in September. Also, be sure to add 10 to 20K to your mental budget. Most buyers will end up paying $2,000 here, $2,000 there to upgrade carpets, cabinets, flooring, many other things. It's very easy to do because I've been there, I know. At some point, you'll go under contract to build your home, and the builder will get their local government permits and approvals, and then start digging the foundation, digging the hole, they call it. Again, I'm simplifying the process in this video. There's more going on behind the scenes. But at some point, you'll meet with the design center. You'll pick your colors and options. By the way, they may require you to put a non-refundable deposit if you pick something non-vanilla, something unique, and so forth. And then you're going to wait for the home to be almost finished. The builder will have you go through, they'll do a blue tape walkthrough. Well, they'll mark on blue tape anything that's wrong with the house. Then you go to closing. After the home is yours, you will need to likely put in fencing and a backyard. Many builders will provide a basic front yard for you. Option 3, spec homes. A spec home is a home the builder builds for the general public versus a specific buyer. Many times these are available now or within 2 to 3 months. Now, they may be homes that were canceled by a buyer somewhere in the process, or they may be a certain set of homes that the builder wants to build without having a current buyer, just to have an inventory on hand. Generally, these homes are vanilla as far as the upgrades. The builder is trying to appeal to that unknown future buyer, so they try to broaden the appeal for that buyer. Typically, if you bought a spec home, you would have very little choices to the options you get at the home because the builder's already ordered paint, carpet, upgrades, cabinets, and things like that. They did that months ago. So it would be very rare for a builder to be able to make major modifications to that house. I always recommend to my buyers that they buy a spec home if at all possible, for the following reasons. First, they know what the real price is, and they know what the real interest rate is. By the way, some lenders, can lock your loan for 45 days. So if you find a spec home and it's not going to be ready for 30 to 45 days, they can lock your rate. Second, you can pretty much see what you're going to get. You can walk through the home and see if it's really as big as you need. It's not a pretty picture on a wall, but a real home that you can walk through and really see if your furniture would fit. Third, you can see what your neighborhood is going to look like. Is there a 2-story home across the street blocking your view of the mountains or lake? You can walk down the street and get a feel for what the yards will probably look like. You can also walk into a real garage and get a reality check as to whether your large 4x4 pickup truck will actually fit. And although you're not picking every color and option, you can still add these in the future. You can always buy new carpet or paint or new cabinets down the road. However, you obviously can't change a 2-car garage to a 3-car garage. So if you can't find the spec home you like, your only other choices are to build from scratch or to buy an existing home. Option 4, buying an existing home. If you can find what you like, buying an existing home is almost always the least expensive way to find a home. You usually get a finished yard, completed fencing, existing trees and shrubs. These are very costly items to add in a brand new home. While you may not love the colors of the carpet, you can always change them later. While you may not love the granite or the cabinets, you can always change them later. Here's a good example. In the 1990s, the builders put in tons of white oak cabinets. That was the thing to have. During the early 2000s, however, builders switched to knotty alder. Now during the 2020s, buyers want white cabinets. What will be the next style? This is something that you can always modify if you get an existing home. It is the same with carpet and flooring. The quality of laminated wood floors is leaps and bounds better than it was around the year 2000. So folks are replacing their carpet with laminated wood floors. And frankly, it's almost the same cost as carpet. With an existing home and a really good home inspection, you know exactly what you're buying. Even some new homes have issues with ground settling and concrete cracking, as many of the builders backfilled the basement walls to different standards. With an existing home and a good home inspection, the problems are usually addressable before you buy. If the roof does not leak but has 5 years left on it, you can budget for a new roof. If you want to design your own basement, look for a newer home which still has an unfinished basement. You can usually add a walkout and a second kitchen if you want. With an existing home, you usually find bigger yards than with a brand new home because land is very expensive today. Some general observations. Homes built before the 1990s typically don't have tall ceilings and very open floor plans, but they do have larger lot sizes. Homes built in the 1990s typically have larger lots, and we're transitioning to the larger living spaces, larger master baths, and some taller ceilings. Homes built in the early 2000s usually have very nice master baths and bathrooms and tall ceilings, but the lots started getting smaller. Many homes in the early 2000s had a darker, old European feel to them as far as paint and trim. In the 2010 to current homes, things became brighter. White trim started coming back. They still have the taller ceilings, but the lot sizes are getting smaller again. So here are the major pros and cons. New home pros. You often get exactly what you want. Your house will have that new car smell. If you have allergies, you will have new paint, new carpet, and you know that the house did not have animals. Here's the new home cons. Add another $20K to the price for the little extras that you'll always add during the building process. Unless it's a spec home, you really may not know the final price or interest rate. You won't know who your neighbors are and the types of homes that they will build. And then you need to add in a backyard, basement, and sprinklers. Almost all new home sites have HOAs, and some make you actually pay a fee to sell your home down the road. It's called a reinvestment fee. If you are in phase 1 of a subdivision, you'll probably have a couple of years of big trucks, dirts, and dust. Okay, let's look at existing home pros and cons. You can find almost exactly what you want, but not exactly. You will know the pluses and minuses before you buy, and you'll have fewer surprises if you do your proper due diligence and get a good home inspection. Your yard and neighborhood will usually have more trees and vegetation than a brand new subdivision, and many existing homes do not have an HOA. Finally, you will usually be able to find a larger lot size with an existing home than with a brand new home. So here's some videos I recommend checking out to help you see what's out there now. And as always, give me a call at any time. I'm here to help. Please subscribe. Thanks.